Alright, today I'm going to be installing the first mod on my Tdubs. It's going to be a rear luggage rack. This is made by Precision Motorcycle Racks, PMRACKS. Nice little rack, made in the US. Nice paint, powder coating. This uses the seat bolts and the rear turn indicator stocks for mounting. Should only take about 10 minutes, and you're only going to need a few tools. 17mm open end wrench and a 10mm socket. So to get started, I suggest clean the bike if it's dirty. We're going to remove the rear seat. Alright, so looking underneath the bike here, we've got these two 10mm bolts that we want to remove. That's what's holding the seat on in the rear. So we're going to take these off. Pretty easy. Alright, now that we've got the bolts out, the front is held onto the tank by a suction cup, and then right around here we've got a little hook. So just lift the rear of the seat up, pull the suction cup, and pull the seat back, and it'll pop right off. Alright, now we've got the turn indicator here, and on the back side you got this little rubber boot. You're going to slide this off, and you'll see that nut there. We're just going to take that off with our 17mm wrench. Just give it a little wiggle and it'll pop right out. And we've got another one on this side to do. Alright, so hopefully you can see how this is going to mount. We've got our seat bolt on the bike, passes through here, and it's going to pass through the rear rack. And if you look closely at the rear mounting point, there's a slot cut here and a little indexing point. What you're going to want to do is from the back side, if you force it down here, you'll scrape your plastics pretty bad. From the back side, kind of rotate it in and be very careful, because it's going to want to stick a little bit. Do not force it, or you can shear your wire right off. So what you want to do is just put the wires from the turn signal through the slot, and then get the other side done. Again, being very careful not to force anything so you don't shear your turn signal wires. Then just wiggle the bolt through both holes. Do the other side. And you're going to have to line your turn signals up now, because you've lost your indexing mark from the frame of the bike is now aligning this, and this doesn't have a corresponding. So basically your turn signals can rotate now. So you just want to line them up to where they're pretty level, the way they should be. Alright, so we've got our rack on, we've got our turn signal light in. You can see the turn signal stock is right there, the bolt. We're just going to thread our nut on. Now, I wouldn't tighten anything down yet, because you're dealing with a bike and a part made in two different places. You might want to get everything hand tight before you tighten stuff down. We'll also put the nut on this side as well. Okay, hand tight. So basically what we have now is, this is loosely holding the rack on in the rear. We're going to put the front seat back on. This is going to be a little tricky because you've got this extra bracket now. And you have this. What we're trying to do is to get this little latch up underneath this right here. Kind of roll it in. And push this down, and we're attached. And our suction cup's down. That's it. Now we're going to put the bolts in from the underside. Now this is why we didn't over tighten the back yet, because we've got a little room for adjustment here. Nothing's bolt on. That's kind of the motto with aftermarket parts. We'll get this aligned. have to pull on the rack a little bit to get things to line up. Patience is very important. Get in a hurry, strip bolts out, bend and break parts. Alright, before you start torquing anything down, you want to just check, make sure it looks good, straight. You're not going to warp any parts massively out of alignment. If it looks good, tighten it all down. Once you get these snug down, don't forget to replace the little rubber boot. It'll keep mud and water from getting packed inside your turn signal. And I actually added a little zip tie on mine. So that was pretty quick and easy, right? Now, when you get done, you might notice there's a little play in the seat. That wasn't there before. But you have to remember that the seat is now sitting on top of the rear rack bracket. Now, if that really bothers you, what you can do is buy some furniture pads, the foot pads, and you can actually attach those underneath here where the original seat pad is. But most people won't notice that. Alright, that's it. Now, put 56 pounds of camping gear on here, and the next thing will be how to weld a cracked subframe. See you then.